In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use images as overlays in order to achieve special effects, atmosphere, magic, all kinds of cool stuff, sci-fi effects. Did I mention lens flares? Because yeah, lens flares. And basically they all use the same premise, which is that we're using an image on top of our base image, and it's going to be set to screen blending mode. This is the secret behind a majority of my awesome photographs that pop and that people say, how do you do that? I just kind of giggled to myself because it's like one little trick in Photoshop does so many cool things. So let's get started. I've got 3 images here. Hopefully I don't overdo it. Hopefully I also make something cool. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, so this will be fun. So I've got a magic image, Harry Potter, with a magic book. I've got Jinx from League of Legends cosplayer, and I've got another Harry Potter shoot for the magic effect. So cool. Let's add something whimsical and fairy tale-y coming out of this book, because I have hidden in here an LED light, which is projecting onto the model and making her glow, which is a practical effect. It's going to make our post effects look even more realistic. All right, so I have built up quite a library of images, which are overlays. And I've done this by browsing various websites of free overlays, free images, free textures, all kinds of crazy stuff. I'd highly encourage you make your own by taking pictures of Christmas lights at night, taking pictures of fireworks on holidays, whether they're long exposure or quick exposure. Those smokes and sparks and particles just look so beautiful when overlaid on the right image. All right, so I've got her looking into a book. Now I imagine things coming out of the book. Let's see if I can find anything that kind of matches that. Got lots of fire, lots of smoke. Got some cool particles. I'm going to try to add this coming out of the book. I'm going to flip it around, put it on top of the book, maybe scale it a little bit so it kind of fits. Holding control. Oh, got to hit enter. Now if you hold control, you can move individual corners inwards, which is skewing, I think. Very handy for a matching perspective. Boom. Now watch this. If I put it on screen mode, voila. It doesn't look very cool right now, but trust me, it will in a little bit. Now we've got rough edges. We can see the edges of the image. They're not pure black, so on screen mode we can see them. So what screen mode does is it will grab the values of an image and turn them kind of into transparency, I guess. So black will be transparent, totally gone. White will be very visible, but everything in between is kind of a fall off. So if you have, light here, which is not black but not white, it's kind of halfway in the middle. It's halfway transparent. I can see through it. See if I move, look at that. It's kind of like glass. I can see through the layer. Now, the reason why I use a screen blending mode so much is because of what it does to light values on overlays. It gives a very natural and realistic looking glow effect for bright objects, like lightsaber glows or particles like this. So what we're going to do to fix this problem around the edges is we're going to go into the image itself, and I'm going to add a layer mask. Click on the layer mask, B for brush, use a black brush, because remember, black is going to erase the image through masking. And I've got a nice soft brush. Oops, size it down a little bit. There. So watch this. As I paint, voila. Edge problem fixed. Now if you want to make it even softer, make a bigger brush. Make it a little more subtle. Not so obvious that you're cutting off the edges like I did. I wasn't very sneaky with that. Now I'm going to further mask right along the edge of this book. Cool. I'm going to move this down a little bit so I can add more glow around the edges. So B, even smaller. There we go. No edge. We don't want any of that edge to stick through. Cool. All right. Another trick you can use to clean up overlaid images is by using levels or curves. So I clicked on the overlay image itself, which is those dusty particles. Control L, which is levels. Now if I make the image darker by bringing up the black point, look at that. It gets clearer. I can go all the way up and it's pretty much gone. Or I can go, somewhere in the middle. I don't want too much of that haze because it kind of covers her face up, and you can see where the edge fall off is around the edge of the actual image. So I don't want to ruin the illusion. There we go. That looks pretty cool, like that. Yeah, so we've got some magical particles with a glow coming out of the book. Let's see what else we can add. Let's add some fog to the image. Now, one of my earlier videos is how to do fog overlays. So that's already covered, but I will show you how I do it because you haven't seen it. So again, I made a mask for this foggy image. I'm going to get rid of these white borders because they look awful and they will not work with screen mode, because what happens to white? It's very visible and I don't want that. So I'm going to move this down. Oh, missed on the edge. Get out of there, edge. We don't like, oh, maybe too much. There we go. I'm going to size this up. Move it down. Rotate a little bit so it's a little more even to the ground. Boom. Now watch what happens when I put this foggy layer on screen mode. Oh, nice. It's not too much. Just a little touch. And we can further get rid of things, bringing them in or out by using masking. Now I've got a black mask on, so I can get rid of this little blue haze over there. I can maybe put the brush at 50% so it's not totally killing what's underneath it. There we go. Cool. So this is what the image looks like right now. Looks pretty crazy when you just really view it. But on screen mode, the white shows through and the black goes away. There it is. Fog, no fog. And we got a little bit of a leftover up here. I'm going to get rid of that by painting black on the top. There we go. Awesome. Magic fog, magic particles. All right, my last thing I'm going to add to this image is I'm going to try to make some particles not only look like they're flying out, but they're kind of making trails and curving around and doing magic-y things. So I'm going to use this crazy firework explosion thing that I found. I think I got this from Pixabay. It's a stock image free website. Put it on screen mode. There we go. We've got a ridiculous explosion of stuff happening. Very distracting. Okay, there. Now using mask, I'm going to invert it. Now it's all the way gone because the mask is black. Going back to brush, make it white. Size it down. I'm going to draw some trails moving out of the book. It's too thick. I want a skinny little dot. Yeah, it's a little softer. There. Doing smaller ones. Wiggling around. Kind of break off little branches. And because this bottom layer has motion blur, it really looks kind of cool already because you feel like it's shooting at high speed and going all over the place. Okay, don't want to overdo it. All right, so we got that. Now I'm going to use a path blur to add some further motion to follow the lines that I drew. So Blur Gallery, path blur, really cool tool. And I'm just going to draw there. Enter. So I'm drawing these dots and it is making a localized blur effect that follows the curves that I drew. Great for debris, dirt, fire, smoke. If you want to give it the impression of moving outwards really quick, you can add directional path blur. And I can, of course, control the amount of blur or speed here. I want it to really like stuff's flying out. So there we go. And my computer's like, whoa, calculations. Okay. Now to make it look more interesting, I'm going to do my levels trick, which again, the more black you have in that overlay, the less it's going to be coming out. Look at that. That's pretty sweet. Looks like wind, very high speed moving magical energy or whatever. You can also play with the middle, and also the brighter it is, the more visible it is. Look at that. That's like a little too much. But the wider or the brighter those overlays are, the more visible they're going to be. Okay, that's enough with that one. All right, let's do some sci-fi stuff with this image. So already I know I'm going to add a lens flare. I love J.J. Abrams, his complete and utter addiction to lens flares where they should not be. I try to add them where they should be. But you know, I've never been the same ever since I saw Star Trek by J.J. Abrams. So let's add energy here and then a lens flare on top of it. We might even make these little LED lights actually glow. And I'm going to add some atmosphere. Let's make a new layer, brush. I'm going to use this soft brush I made. I'm going to use a light blue first. right? Centered there. And then we're going to do white in the middle because that's how energy works. It's always white in the middle if it's powerful or bright or hot. Cool. Now I'm going to put this on screen mode, which you might notice that little change there. Let's go back to normal mode where it's just painted pixels. Looks all right. Screen mode allows other bright things to shine through, which is good because that's what it should look like. Cool. Awesome. Already looking better. Now let's find a lens flare overlay, which I have got hundreds of. And again, I found these on a website that just had a huge download. I think I had to join a membership for like a week before it charged me. I canceled it, and I got a whole bunch of lens flare images. So let's use this one. This one is already on the side of the screen, which is perfect. I'm going to Control-Alt copy it. For some reason, Photoshop won't let me drag these PNG images on top, but the other images I can. It's very strange. All right, so we've got it here. It's too small. I'm going to Alt drag. Now with lens flares, you don't need to worry too much about proportions because they can stretch and bend and do weird stuff. So you don't have to keep proportions the same. You just need to make it look awesome. Oh yeah. Look at that. Pretty sweet. But we've got edges here. Just like in a previous image, we've got edges on the original image that are not black. Therefore, they are visible. So we need to add some fall off to fix that. This is not a smart layer, so I can actually paint directly onto it if I want to. So I've got brush. We'll make it black. Make sure it's nice and soft. And I'm just going to paint right around the edges to erase those edges. Cool. No one has to know. Sweet. So here's the original. Oh, I missed a few gaps here. It's good to do this too, to really be pixel perfect. You got to make sure you're not missing anything. Cool. You can, of course, also use layers or curves, but sometimes when you've got a streak going right to the edge, curves is not going to fix that. I do want to use some levels, though, to clean up this hazy middle spot. Yeah, maybe a little bit less haze. And I want to brighten it up. Boom. Before, after. And bring back our little flare there we added with the paintbrush. Cool, we've got that. Now I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to use that same initial blast layer that we've got here, and I'm going to use a soft brush, which is, remember, this layer is set on screen, so anything I paint is going to look kind of glowy and energy. Oops. Got to line them up perfectly. There, 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 there. Maybe add a few more in there, just for good measure. Everyone likes cool, shiny stuff. Because in the future, everything is shiny and has random LEDs all over it. Cool. Nice. That looks good to me. So we're good for that. Let's add a little bit of atmosphere to make this image a little more interesting and textured. Going into my overlay folder, which I've got a crap ton of dust pictures and fire and all kinds of random stuff. Let's just use this one. Flip it. Make it fit. And I'm going to skew it a little bit. I'm not going to stay in the proportions. Now I like to live on the edge, There we go. All right, now where did she go? We need to set this as screen mode. Boom. Cool. Now it's too much. It's brown. It's kind of ugly. I don't like that. So I'm going to do levels first of all to clean it up. There we go. So when we get rid of those darker values that are in between the dust particles, everything else stays, which is cool. Great. Now watch this cool trick. I'm going to make a layer on top. I'm going to set this to color. And I'm going to make this a clipping mask for this layer. So whatever I paint onto here is only going to affect the dust layer. And what am I going to paint on here? I'm going to paint some color because this is set to color. So when I add red with a large brush, come on. Oh yeah, making the dust red. And then what I'm going to do on the opposite side, blue. Contrasting colors are good. They make interesting images. Maybe the red's a little too much. I think I could be able to desaturate it and maybe bring it down. Yeah, bring it down a little bit. Sweet. So again, if I get rid of this, look at that. Pretty cool image already. So this is a color blending mode, not screen. It's set to clipping mode, which means a little down arrow is only affecting this guy. And this guy, which normally is just blah brown dust, is now colorful and cool. Let's add some purple in the middle. Maybe 50%. Ooh, that looks pretty sweet. I actually don't like it. I thought it'd be cool. Yeah, it's kind of clashing for some reason. That's okay. So you get the idea. This thing being on screen mode just really adds a lot to the image, doesn't it? And honestly, a lot of my cosplay images have a little bit of dust or a little bit of energy or some light rays, or sometimes even just one of these coloring layers on top of the real person to add extra flair. I try to do real lighting because, I mean, this is my flash down here on the ground, just laying on the ground, and I've got a blue light over here behind her, and I think my main light is on her front. So I've got 3 lights going, which is why this image is really interesting and colorful. And you can enhance that and really draw it out with the right layers. There you go. You're welcome. All right, last and final image. Let's add some magic spells to this picture. But first, lens flares. Let's make her color green. Now I'm going to set this to screen mode like before. I'll make it pure green for now. A little touch there. Let's make her color, I don't know, blue, right on the tip of her wand. It's a little weak. There we go. Cool. And then white on top with a much smaller brush size. There, it just kind of adds to the illusion of brightness. Awesome. And that's art. Some people will stop right there. They'll say, oh my gosh, I mean, the coolest image. And I'm like, yeah, it's pretty cool, but you can take it to the next level. Let's add some lightning coming out of her. All right. So I've got an image of lightning right here. Drag it on top. It's too big, which is good. Better that than the other way around. I size it down. I'm going to rotate it. And it's going to be hitting her face. So we need to size it down some more. Maybe stretch it out. It's lightning. It doesn't matter if it's stretched. All right, now put this on screen mode and look what happens. We've got lightning, but we've also got some other stuff too. The city, the sky, all that crap. So let's do levels to clean it up. Pretty nice. It's almost perfect. And let's enhance the whites too to make that lightning really stand out. Don't worry, we'll make it green later. Now to get rid of the city, I'm going to mask it. I just alt-click the layer, mask, make it black, big brush. Oh, yep, there we go. So it's now transparent. Get rid of that guy. Bye, people. Sorry. And just in case there's any stuff come over the edge, I'm going to always get rid of these edges. I've finished photos before and sent them and posted them, and I realized there's a little bit of an edge of a picture from a lens flare that I didn't erase, or a shine or something. I'm like, oh, I didn't mask out the edge. Okay, bring everything back. All right, so I'm going to click on this layer and make it green. Super easy. Oh, I got to move it down a little bit. Arrows. There we go. Control U, which is the hue saturation, and slide it on over to green. You can make it any color you want. Cool. And it's got a little bit of a, oh, look at that edge. I hate the edge. Go back to click on the mask, black brush. There we go. Cool. And that haziness I'm going to get rid of. I'm just going to do it. Click on the layer itself, the overlay layer, curves, drop it down. There we go. Cool. All right. Pretty cool. We can add some other stuff going on. Where there's lightning, there's bound to be sparks. So I'm going to bring in one of my fireworks pictures that I took myself. If you invite me over to your house for 4th of July or New Year's, just be aware that I'll be taking pictures of fireworks, but not the normal big pretty ones up in the sky, because I don't care about those fireworks. I care about these fireworks because they give me great source images to use in my pictures. Levels to clean it up, get rid of the background, which was not entirely black, but now it is. Cool. Sparks. I'm gonna scale it a little bit to kind of match the size of the lightning. Drag that corner up. Look at this. I'm dragging the corners to make it look like it's exploding out of the wand. Again, that's holding control and clicking on the corners of any layer Really cool. All right, that looks pretty sweet. Make them maybe green or blue. Yellowy green. There you go. Cool. And it would be kind of weird to add something coming out of her wand because it's like right next to her face. But you get the idea. Just with some creativity, with some playing with layers, adding small details like the sparks, some smoke. You can really create something really interesting and phenomenal visually that otherwise no one would have ever thought of or ever seen, nor is it possible to make those things in real life. So that is why I love overlay images, and the screen blending mode makes so many cool things possible. Here's the original image that I did. Here's the first and initial edit that I did from the actual photo shoot. You can see I added some spindly energy moving and flying around. They're kind of battling in the middle like, Voldemort and Harry Potter. And here's the Jinx cosplay. You can see I added a lot of smoke, some kind of larger blurry particles, and also the energy beam is actually shooting and firing out of the gun. Came out really great. Loved it. And this one, not the same image, but from the same shoot. I preferred the standing pose because just the angle looked better. I made the pages white, added some really cool energy stuff that I actually made, that the yellow and purple smoke there, I made that custom in Blender using a 3D animation program. And a bunch of sparks from my fireworks photos that I've taken, a little bit of lens flare on the wand, and voila, super awesome magical photo. All right, well, thank you guys for watching. I hope you learned something new. I would love to see the results that you have gotten from using my screen blending mode secret. So make something awesome and send it my way. Thanks for watching.